Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias, and this is from Mulholland Books. There you go, right there. And I'm going to get this out of the way right now. On Goodreads, I gave it 5 out of 5, and I'd give it 5.5 out of 5 if I could. Break the laws of mathematics a little bit. This book is absolutely fantastic. So there you go. If you want to know more, stick around. So our main character is Mario. I was considering just reading the inside flap. Because there are things I don't want to tell you, so I'm not sure how much sense I'm going to make, although that could be every video. The Devil Takes You Home, a barrio noir is what it says on the title page. Mario's our main character. He's got some really serious money problems, among other problems. And so he's in such desperate straits, he ends up taking a job as a hitman, finds that he's good at it. Things happen, and he ends up at the point where he's going to take one last job, and if he makes it through this, he's going to come out with $200,000, but he's with a drug addict and a cartel guy, and they're on a road trip through Texas hell and Little Mexico hell. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away. So basically, Mario becomes a hitman. One last job. Will he make it out? That's your basic. That's your in a nutshell. So, Gabino Iglesias, his writing is amazing. This book, first of all, this is a dark, dark book. The very first word in the book is one of the most horrific words in the world. And it does not let up from there. Gabino here is going to kick your legs out from under you, pin your arms down with his knees, and just start punching you in the face, and occasionally kicking you in the crotch. Well, maybe slamming a knee down in the crotch. It's brutal, it's dark, but it's amazing. The writing is like a razor blade. It's just fast and sharp. The characters are complicated. There are no good people in this book. They're the most sympathetic character is a meth head. I guess technically some of the very ancillary, well, no, even there might be one good character in this book, maybe. Everybody else is that they're complicated people. Mario, obviously a complicated person. He starts out as an everyman for a Latinx person, because this book delves deep into, hopefully this is the proper term that I'm using, Latinx culture. I think that's the encompassing of all the different places and people. So in the same way that Walter Mosley's Easy Rawlins books just immerses me in the world of a black man, black culture in the 50s and 60s and 70s, this book really has immersed me in Latinx border crime culture. Not saying they're all the same thing. There's commas in there, not slashes. But really has immersed me in this world. and it's it was so compelling. I didn't want to put it down. Unfortunately, I was working 11-hour days, so it took me a little longer to read it than it normally would have. I tweeted at one point that I was reading it on my lunch break. Once I went back to work for another 4 hours after lunch, I just, all I did was think about what I had read. It got inside my head. It got under my skin. It's so brutal and so horrifying. And you want to sympathize with a couple of the characters, but they make it really difficult to do so. The characters themselves, their actions. So essentially, Gabino Iglesias is making it difficult. But that's what makes these characters so complex. They're not just straight bad guys. There are reasons for what they're doing. Whether or not you agree with those reasons, whether or not you think those reasons justify their actions, that's up to you. That's a discussion we can have. But it does make the characters more complicated, more interesting. There is a supernatural element to this book, just a little bit, sprinkled here and there, until a couple of spots where it sort of, again, punches you in the face. But it works, and some of it's horrifying. This is one of those. All right, right off the bat, I've said this for one, maybe two other books so far this year, but unless a bunch of really amazing things come along, this is easily going to be in my top 10 for 2022. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there are any story elements it's that I can talk about. Excuse me. Mario, the last job. So he's going to take this last job, $200,000. And the biggest chunk of the book is getting to that job. I think the biggest chunk is getting to the job. But it's a travelogue of Texas. And Mario's from, in the book, he's in Austin. But there's traveling to San Antonio, to, I think, El Paso, and other locations, and then into Mexico and back again. And it's all about the characters, how they're connecting, how they're conflicting, what they're doing to get where they need to be to get this job done. And I'll tell you, there are no laughs in this book. I've read some dark books that have a laugh here and there. I don't think there's a single one in this book. So be warned. It is dark, depressing material, but it is so well written. It is so compelling that I had to give it 5 stars on Goodreads. I have to recommend it. If it's your thing, I'm not saying if you like, although I don't know that anybody who watches my channel likes romance, but, if you're a fan of Harlequin romances, I'm not saying, hey, put those down and read this. Although, frankly, everybody should read this. But, if it's not your thing, I understand. But if you're willing to take a chance, if you're willing to dive into the darkness, The Devil Takes You Home, Gabino Iglesias, so good. I ordered it the day it was released, or ordered it a couple days before it was released to get it on the day of release. And as soon as I finished what I was currently reading, I picked it up, jumped into this. I was so excited to have it. This is only Gabino Iglesias' 3rd book. He's such a fantastic writer that, on the one hand, I wish he would write faster, put out more, because I want to read more of his stuff. On the other hand, if this is the result of him taking the time, then, man, take the time. I also know he has various jobs. I believe he's a teacher. Well, let's just take a look at his bio. Let's see if it tells us. He's a reviewer. I know that he has put together anthologies. And I do believe Gabino Iglesias is a writer, journalist, professor, and literary critic. So he's a very, very busy man. I understand that it takes him a while to put some stuff out. And yeah, I would not want him to decrease the quality to increase the quantity, if you know what I'm saying. Would love to read more of his stuff, but I'm willing to wait if it's this damn good. All right, I think that's all I'm going to say. It's a fantastic book. It's a dark, depressing book, but it is so amazingly written with such rich, complex characters. And yeah, it's all about Mario and what's going on with Mario. There's some other things I thought about telling you, but I think maybe they're a little too potentially spoilery. You might figure things out if I say something, so I'm going to leave it there. The Devil Takes You Home, Gabino Iglesias, 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. Question for this video: do you read really dark stuff? I'm not talking about horror. I'm talking about this, although there are supernatural elements, this is human darkness. I was going to say this is like Joe Lansdale, S.A. Cosby, and Jim Thompson had a book baby. Definitely noir. So what are your feelings on that? Do you enjoy, is such a weird word to use in this case, but do you enjoy reading this dark kind of thing where everybody's a bad guy? Or do you prefer lighter fare? Even horror can have, not always, but can have lighter moments in it, depending on what type of horror you're reading. This is dark stuff. Obviously, for me, if it's well written, I'm going to enjoy it. I've said it many, many times. The most important things to me are character and entertainment value. And the characters in this are fantastic. You usually, in the noir type of stuff, the darker type of stories that I've read, they usually have compelling, interesting, complicated characters. And so I like to read that kind of thing. What about you? Do you prefer to keep it light? Do you sometimes like to dig into the darkness? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. You know all the YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is EricSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I have for you. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.